We're now going to look at rectangle problems and how to find their perimeter. So number 7, the perimeter of a rectangle is 58 feet. That means all the way around it. The length is 5 feet more than 2 times the width. So again, whatever's mentioned last, you're going to let that be x or w or whatever variable you would like, but I like to use x. Right? So the way I'm going to define my variable is I'm going to draw a picture and I'm going to label my width as the short side. Now yes, over here is also x. The length is 5 feet more than. That means I'm going to add 5, but not just to x, 5 feet more than 2 times the width. That's 2x, 2 times the width. So the length is 5 feet more than 2 times the width. Now the width is just x, the length is 5 feet more than 2 times. At this point I could just add up all 4 sides like that, and what would I set it equal to? 58. Or I could use my formula where I say twice the length plus twice the width equals the perimeter. I'm getting that from that 2L plus 2W. But again, you could just add up 2x plus 5 plus x plus 2x plus 5 plus x and also set it equal to 58. Both would work. Okay, so I'm going to distribute. I'm going to collect like terms. I'm going to subtract 10. And now divide by 6. Now keep in mind that when you're doing rectangle problems, you can't get negatives. You could get fractions, but you can't get negatives because the length of something can't be negative. Right, so x is 8. Let's go back. What are the dimensions of the rectangle? What does that word mean, dimensions? Does it just mean solve for x? No, it means what's the length and what's the width. So I know that my width, which is x, is 8. But what's my length? My length is 2x plus 5. That means 2 times 8 plus 5. 16 plus 5 is 21. Now if I just add those up, I'm only going to get 29. But remember, I need 2 times the width and 2 times the length. If I multiply that by 2, I do get 58. So I'm just kind of checking my work. So the width is 8, the length is 21. That's the dimensions of the rectangle. Let's do another one. So this time we have the perimeter is 100 feet. The length is 6 feet less than 3 times the width. So again, you want to let that width be x. If my last word was length, I would let that be x, whatever's mentioned last. I'm going to draw my rectangle. X is there. This time the length is 6 feet less than. Now this is different than plus. Subtraction does make a difference in what order. So 6 feet less than means I want to take away 6 from something. Not 6 minus, but minus 6 from something. Well, what is that something? 3 times the width. Right? So I want 3x minus 6. Be very careful. So setting up my equation, twice the length plus twice the width equals my perimeter. So again, distributing. Collecting like terms. This time I need to add 12 to both sides and divide by 8. And I want the dimensions of the rectangle. So again, I know the width, which was x, is 14, but I need to know the length. So that's 3 times x minus 6. 3 times 14 minus 6. So 3 times 14 is 42, minus 6 is 36. So my answers are 14 and 36, and yes, that would be in feet, but if you don't put the feet, that's okay. The last two examples deal with money. They're a little bit more difficult, they're a little bit harder to set up, but we'll get through it. So, number 9, Katie has $5.70 in dimes and quarters. The number of dimes is 2 more than 3 times the number of quarters. How many of each type of coin does she have? Blah, 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 right? Okay. First of all, let's go back to if I have 3 quarters, I have 75 cents. You just know that, right? Well, you're really multiplying 3 because I have 3 quarters, and quarters are worth 25 cents, and that's how I got 75 cents. If I have 9 nickels, I have 45 cents because 9 times 5 cents is 45. So this is the trick to money problems. You've got to know that you have to multiply how many of you have times the value, and that gets you money. If I just tell you I have 7 coins in my pocket, you don't know how much money I have. Alright, so let's go back to the problem. Katie has $5.70 in dimes and quarters. The number of dimes is 2 more than 3 times the number of quarters. Okay, so about the only thing maybe you got, the last thing, you're going to let that be x. Okay, so x, what is x? X is the number of quarters. We don't know how much money, but how many quarters she has. Right? The number of dimes is 2 more than, we're adding 2 to 3 times the number of quarters. So that means 3x plus 2 is the number of dimes. Again, you need to put something like that on your paper to define your variable. Now, how do we get that equation? You cannot, I'm just going to say, this is wrong. If you do x plus 3x plus 2 equals 570, that is wrong. Okay. So what do we have to do to make it right? We have to take how many times the value. So quarters are worth 25 cents, so I'm going to multiply 25 times x. Dimes are worth 10 cents, so I'm going to multiply my dimes, which is 3x plus 2 times my dimes. And I'm just going to set it equal to 570 cents. Since I didn't put a decimal on my 25 or my decimal on my 10, everything I'm going to do in cents, so I don't have to work with that decimal. All right. Distribute. Collect like terms. Subtract 20. Divide by 55. And on coins and things like that, you cannot get a fraction. You cannot get a negative. That's kind of nice. Alright, so what does X stand for? X stands for the number of quarters. Katie had 10 quarters, and then 3x plus 2 was the number of dimes she had. So 3 times 10 plus 2, that's 30 plus 2. So that's 32 dimes. So she had 32 dimes and 10 quarters. Does it really equal to $5.70? So this was wrong. Don't do that. You've got to multiply how many you have times the value. How many you have times the value to equal your total money. Let's do another one. Let's talk about Jack. He doesn't have coins. He has bills. He has some 5s and 10s. So the number of 5s is 4 less than 2 times the number of 10s. Okay, so that's mentioned last, so that's going to be x. So x is the number of 10s. Let's go back. The number of 5s is 4 less than. That means we're going to subtract 4 away from 2 times the number of 10s. So we're going to have 2x minus 4 is going to be the number of fives. Okay, to get the total of money, we're going to multiply how many we have times how much it's worth. So I'm going to take 10x plus 5 times 2x minus 4 equals how much money Jack has. How much they're worth times how many we have. How much they're worth times how many we have. So again, distributing, collecting like terms, adding 20, and not stopping. Okay, what does X stand for? The number of $10 bills. So Jack had 15 $10 bills, and 2x minus 4 would be the $5 bills. So 2 times 15 minus 4. That's 30 minus 4. So he had 26 $5 bills. He had 15 $10 bills. Add that up. That's going to give you $280.